Hello, this is Diablo68 from Gaming Existence, and today we're doing some help and tips, and that is regarding a board game, Star Wars Imperial Assault. So let's get into it. This short video is going to be on using strain, or as I always seem to call it, is stamina, I think from my Descent days, but we're going to be going over how strain works, how you use it, what you can do with it, and how it properly works in the game. So one of the first things I want to talk about is strain, and this is something which in my first campaign we all did this really wrong, and so I'm just going to go over some of the main points, and that is the fact that first off you can use strain, up to 2 strain a turn, to take as extra movement actions. So this doesn't count as one of your actions for moving, it's literally just allows you to move an extra 2 spaces. So for example, I could just say with Fen here, he's going to take 2 strain, so he's going to move 1, 2, and now he could take a double attack action against this Stormtrooper. It's a really powerful skill to have. You can also add it onto your normal movement. So say for example he's got a move of 4, you could then make that a move of 6. So potentially if you had this whole area blocked off, normally it would take you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movement, and he's only got 4 speed. You could do that with stamina. So you could go 1, 2, 3, 4 for your normal speed, 5 for 1 stamina, and you're through. You passed where you're blocked. It's really handy to know and to have that. The other thing is the fact your rest action. If you take a rest action, it instantly removes your stamina. It just goes straight away. So you lose 1 action, but you rest your stamina. And something worth keeping to know as well is the fact that if you have got damage on you, so for example let's say Fen has got 3 damage on him, if you rest, any endurance you have over your strain, sorry I keep calling it stamina, over your strain, then you will gain that, you will heal yourself that many wounds. So he's got 4 endurance and only 2 stamina, so he's going to rest, which removes 2 strain, and then that heals 2 wounds as well. And you can do that if you want to double rest as well, which is quite a powerful ability. And in the first campaign I played, I only found this out literally halfway through the last mission we realised this worked. So for example, you would take your first action to rest, so that heals, because he's got 4 endurance, that gets rid of his 2 strain, and it heals 2 wounds as well. His next action is to rest again. He's got 4 endurance, no strain, which means he's just going to straight up heal 4 wounds. Really powerful thing to keep in mind. I mean, you do lose your 2 actions, but if you've got your last guy who's just about to be wounded, then it's a no-brainer. You need to do it. Stamina is also used to use some of your abilities. For example, Havoc Shot here. If Fen wanted to use Havoc Shot, he'd have to use one of his he'd have to put a strain on his character. Now if you have, and I've seen a lot of people do this wrong as well, if you have max endurance on your character, you cannot choose to take extra strain above your endurance. You can still take it if somebody forces you to take strain, but you can't willingly choose to do it. So for example, at this point, if Fen wanted to use Havoc Shot, he couldn't use it because it'd go above his 4 endurance. There's just no way he can do it. Now for example, say he got the bleed condition, which is if you take an action you gain a strain, but if he's already maxed out, then it is converted into wounds. So if an Imperial player does something and says, oh, you gain strain, but you're at max, you take it in wounds, but you can't choose to take strain. Fen couldn't choose to use his Havoc Shot, take a wound to use it. Doesn't work that way, he'd have to rest. Surge abilities, when you're attacking, can be used to recover strain. You can only use 1 surge per attack. So for example, let's say Fen has just rolled these dice here, so he's rolled a 4 and say the target is in that range. He's not going to need to use 1 of his strain for +1 accuracy, he's going to use wit for +1 damage, so then he's got 1 surge doing nothing. What he can choose to do is heal 1 strain, and then if he was to then attack again, and say he managed to still get he's in range, and say the target has only got 2 health left and he's going to kill him, then with his second attack he could recover another strain, which is really handy. Sometimes just healing that little bit of extra strain gives you more options later on, especially with Fen. If he has Lone Wolf, that's potentially 3 strain you've done, almost like you've rested, yet you've taken 2 attacks. Very good to use. Finally on strain, if you were to be wounded and have to flip your character, you flip it over, you still keep your strain, but you reduce it to the amount of endurance you have. So you would just get rid of 1. That wouldn't be converted into damage, you wouldn't have to have it on there and then when you rest you then still have 1 to get rid of. It's literally just you flip over, if it goes over your maximum, that's it, it's gone. You don't have to worry about it. That concludes everything we have on strain. Keep an eye out for my other videos and we'll go over a bit more stuff.